professional.
Balls and wiener.
Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin. I'm down here in Redneckville, USA, a.k.a. Tennessee, here to talk some Packers, talk some 53-man roster projections. No predictions. Perfect drop, Tim. No predictions, just projections. We're going to talk about who maybe earned a spot, who didn't, and just kind of get the chat's take on it as well. So before we do that, though, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you here talking Packers on the daily, doing pregame shows, postgame shows, film breakdown, roster projections, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you click on subscribe and also click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. And I know we had some contracts that got done today. Surprise, surprise. Terry McLaurin is a Washington Commander for the foreseeable future. I think a 3-year extension. The Cincinnati Bengals through Trey Hendrickson, a little guaranteed money this year just to shut him up. So we can stop talking about potential trades there, obviously, right? And the only other one out there is the elephant in the room, Mr. Micah Parsons, which I got to be honest, I'd be very surprised if he gets shipped out of Dallas as well. But anything you guys want to hit on before we dive into the roster projection here, gents?
No, other than, Trey Hendrickson staying put. Big shocker, right?
I guess, what's your opinion, Clayton? Do you like when players do that and kind of set a new standard that if you pout and kind of stomp your feet, you can get yourself maybe a little guaranteed?
They're going on for like 20 years, man.
Yeah, I know. But like, that's my point is, we don't see that often in Green Bay.
Right.
What do you guys think about kind of, feeding that sort of mentality?
I think the reason you don't see it in Green Bay is because we have set a standard here of, hey, listen, the contracts are going to fall in line. And this is something that New England did really, really well with the Patriots, right? Bill Belichick, this was how he operated, how he modeled his roster. It was constantly, hey, listen, this is the pecking order type thing. So these teams, it's no surprise that these teams that are constantly running into these contract, roadblocks, I guess you could say, are the ones that are bad football teams, and they're consistently up and down, up and down, up and down. And the reason being is they'll allow a player to reset the market in their locker room to a certain extent, right? Like, look at Zach Tom. I personally think Zach Tom is one of a handful of offensive linemen, specifically tackles, that deserves top money across the league. Did we give him top money? We did not, right? So, he can block. So what I'm saying is the Packers don't look at it like that, right? And I think also, Tim, I want to get your take on it as well, what, Jacob's original question. But the other thing is we talk about Packer players, Packer types, right? These guys, they are well vetted coming into the Green Bay, organization. They're not going to draft someone that they think might have problems in this regard, right? They want a team first type approach. And I know there's some fan bases go, whatever, you're just saying it because you're a Packer fan. Okay, show me where people were upset. Closest we have is Elton Jenkins, right? Yep. And boy, he really stomped his feet, didn't he? He just basically said, hey, I'd like a little guaranteed money. And they said, we'll talk next year. And he came into camp,
Exactly. Kind of like when Rashawn got his deal, right? He basically just signed whatever they put in front of him, and he's still here. You're talking about cut from that cloth. Love it.
Yeah, and people will look at the Rashawn Gary contract and be like, oh, he broke the bank and this and that. We talked about it. As soon as he signed the contract, we were like, boys, you're going to look up in a year and go, well, this is a pretty good deal. And I still think it is. I mean, this is the first year that his cap hit has jumped over $20 million. And people say, well, that's because they kicked the can down the road. You don't understand a damn thing about contracts, because the reality is next year they can get out of the contract. and start to free up cap space where they kind of get their head back above water. But
Yep.
Go ahead, Jacob. Were you going to say something, man?
No, I was just going to say, like, kind of like you said, how we set the precedent. We also have kind of a certain understanding that if you play well in Green Bay and you do what you're supposed to, you're going to get the bag. It might just take a little longer than maybe you expect or whatever, but we're going to give you good market money and a solid contract. And so, yeah, I think that's just kind of another tip to the hat of the way that the organization has been ran for the last, well, probably since its existence.
Yeah,
Pay that man his money.
I knew you were going to do that.
We got Emilio joining us. Oh, by the way, we got us a new drop too. I had to break out the oldie, the classic. Y'all ain't ready for this one. You ready?
I put this team on my back, dude.
Remember that? You remember the Greg Jennings drop?
That's my favorite. I love those videos.
Yeah, dude. It's I watched it. I watched it earlier. It was like, man, I got to get a drop from this. And I watched it probably 15 times and just laughed every single time. Darren Sharper enters the screen.
Yeah, Darren Sharper, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league.
Well, I thought you were going to say something else. Lord,
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
Coach, no cursing in here, other than you, Coach, other than you. So, all right, y'all ready to talk 53? Or Emilio, you got anything to add to the contract talk there, man? Obviously, we were just mentioning Terry McLaurin got a 3-year deal, and Trey Hendrickson, they threw him a little crumb to get him to come on into camp or come on in, I guess, a week 1, did you say?
Yeah, most of the time they end up working out. But glad we got to think about it for a few days there, got to imagine it and then move on. But yeah, no, I'm just, glad they're getting paid. You see what happens. I mean, sometimes you get paid, then you have an injury. It sucks, but at least they got their money and they can help out their family and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's dive into it, boys. Let's get to the offensive side of the ball. Again, this is Matt Schneidman's projected 53-man roster, okay? Now, there's one thing that changed. Obviously, he put this article out and all this information that basically AI pulled from that article and said, all right, here are his 53-man roster, prediction, I guess you could say, right? The one thing that's changed, though, is obviously we made the trade for the offensive lineman yesterday. We'll talk about that when we get to the offensive lineman set here. So here's his projections. And I've got PFF grades off to the side here. If you guys need to know how people performed in the preseason, I can try to run those down for you. But quarterbacks, no surprise. Jordan Love, Malik Willis are your starting or your 2 quarterbacks on your 53-man roster. He said they're going to release Taylor Elgersma and Sean Clifford. Notes both released quarterbacks likely on the practice squad. Elgersma has a higher ceiling. Clifford more ready for an emergency. Pretty much goes hand in hand with what we talked about, right? So my question is, let's just go around the horn here about it. Do you guys think we should keep both of those guys on the practice squad, or do you think that extra practice squad spot would be, valuable? I kind of like the idea of keeping them both personally, but I want to get your all's take on that. I know there's not a lot to talk about the quarterback position, but let's go around the horn with that. We'll start with you, Emilio. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think that's probably spot on. Both of them don't really see them getting signed to a 53, so let's go ahead and slide them over. I mean, Sean Clifford's been Jordan's backup basically since he got here, and I think they have, that connection. When it was Move the Sticks, Bucky and DJ were talking about just having a backup. It's like, hey, can you win us some games? Yep, check. Malik has that. Are you a good person? Do you care about the guy? Yep, check. And then can you build value for yourself? And that also comes with winning those games. Malik's done all that, right? So I think you're looking at the options for Sean and Taylor, and the perfect practice squad would be perfect for both of them. You can kind of flip-flop if you need more of one type or the other kind of quarterback for whoever you're playing that week. But there's there's a lot of potential there, I think, than just keeping them around.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I agree with everything Emilio just said, except I'd like to keep an extra spot open for my boy Will Shepard on the practice squad if possible. But
Tim would not stop talking about Will Shepard at the game. He's like, look at him.
But you would not stop talking about the female cop. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
I wish.
But in all seriousness, Emilio's right. If you can get both of these guys in the practice squad, I don't think either one's going to disappear anytime soon unless there's some kind of massive emergency across the league in the quarterback rooms. So I think if you can have Elgersma and you can have Clifford, the big red dog, on your practice squad, you're feeling pretty good because, the NFL is unpredictable. You never know what can happen. But that being said, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Air Canada and keep a spot open for Will Shepard, Colorado Buffalo. Let's go.
Yeah, and I want to say this real quick. Coach Lynn said, Jacob, he said, where was it at? I know I've seen it earlier. He says, we need the extra spot, right? So he's thinking just keep one quarterback on the practice squad. I could see that as well. Also, it's worth mentioning, like 2-0 for this, not 2-0 for this. Deadfish just said the Lions also released Hendon Hooker, a 2023 third-round pick. Keep in mind, Hendon Hooker, if my memory serves me correctly, he was a top 30 visit for the Packers that year. So just saying, and me and Emilio, we got firsthand, view of Hendon Hooker down here. He took that University of Tennessee team, and I'm telling you, man, he played within that Josh Heupel system.
Yeah.
Damn near flawless. So for what it's worth, and he's not afraid to tuck it and run as well. But yeah, go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw this also, but right when we went, the Lions also released a Dan Skipper, which I don't know if that's injury related or if something else, but that was kind of surprising with all the kind of the injuries and the retirements that they've had on that line. So something to maybe just keep a look at there. But Hendon Hooker, like you said, man, that was a guy that I thought was deserving of, I guess, a better look. Maybe the Lions just feel like that they've got it set right there. Got him looking pretty decent, but I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting once, obviously, tomorrow happens. What is it, 3 p.m. Central Time, where all the final cuts are announced, and then we could be seeing a couple curveballs thrown our way where we thought that we had certain positional groups kind of set in stone, and all of a sudden you get some free agent that, like you said, that the Packers had a high rookie or a high draft grade on, and it just kind of throws a whole wrench in the spokes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, up next, running back. Matt Schneidman's got us keeping 3. Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks. I think we would all agree that's the direction we would go. He's saying they'll release Amar Johnson, Israel Abanikanda, Tyrion Davis Price, IR designated to return. He thinks Marshawn Lloyd with the hamstring, he will go on IR, and that means he would miss the first 4 games if he is designated, right? Extra notes there, allows keeping 2024 backups. Lloyd expected to miss, quote, some time, as Matt LaFleur had mentioned. We'll start with you this time, Jacob. What do you think about – or actually, Tim, you're up. I'm sorry. Tim, start with you this time. What do you think about what Matt Schneidman's got here with the running back room? Obviously, we'll get to the practice squad on the backside, and you can go ahead and mention that if you'd like. But I don't think there's any surprise here either, right? Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks.
Yeah, absolutely. That's your 3 as of right now. We feel pretty good about what we saw from Amar Johnson and Izzy Abanikanda, but those are the 3. And then Marshawn Lloyd expected to miss some time. Translation.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
So obviously, he's going to be your 4th, at some point, hopefully. But we feel good about Chris Brooks, man. I mean, even just what we saw Saturday, he looked pretty good. And then he's been kind of steady Eddie, as Jacob would say, really these past 2 years for us. And, Emmanuel Wilson is another star in the making. So I feel good about that room. I think he's spot on here.
Yeah, and Jacob, if we decide to just keep one of those 2 running backs, Israel Abanikanda or Amar Johnson, I'm big on Amar Johnson. However, when you look at Izzy's PFF grade, 57.9, 66, and 42 were all of his preseason grades there. I'm trying to find Amar Johnson's real quick because I'm pretty sure he played a little bit better. Yeah, his 79.5, 72.2, 54.2. So he had his worst game here in the final game, and it is worth mentioning. His pass blocking grade, weeks 1 and 2, 73, 69, but Amar Johnson in preseason week 3, 3.6. I think they seen his cleats were untied and just said, let's give him the worst grade possible. But I don't know. What do you think, man, about the running back room here?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like Coach says right here, he'd like to keep both Johnson and Abanikanda. He's still young. I was kind of impressed from what I saw from him, and it seemed like that they really enjoyed what he did with the return game. Matt LaFleur had high praise for him. He said that he loved the way that he attacked, being a returner and kind of how he has no fear. You just got to be able to kind of put your head down, hit the hole, and just, take it as it comes kind of thing. And it is we talk about how it's a good problem to have so much talent where you can't quite know who's going to make the roster. I just really do believe that Chris Brooks has got a special place in Matt LaFleur's heart. I just think that he really trusts him, and we saw it down the stretch in last year, and it'd be tough. I really do like Amar Johnson though, so to me that one will be an interesting case. I don't know which kind of these guys can get passed off to the practice squad and actually not get signed up. So it's again, like we talked about so many different times, I hate to be the guy making these decisions. It'd just be terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if possible, perfect for those three to make the roster. If possible, yeah, let's get Amar and Izzy. If not, I would just take Amar right now and kind of move forward if we have to cut it, and make that roster spot. But yeah, we're kind of set. We're kind of set at running back, honestly. E. Wilson is super nice and low key. Nobody knows about him in the NFL. Chris Brooks is our multi-tool that we use as a fullback, but can run the ball, catch, do everything. And Josh, and you just saw how mean he ran in that one run he got last game. Cannot wait for him to get the ball. So yeah, I think we're set right there.
Definitely. What's the chat saying, Jacob? Anything about the running backs, or is it just all everybody in there being toxic? Is that what's going on?
No, just 2-0 for this has got the comment of the day. It says, my Abacanda don't want none unless it's got runs, hun. So
that was very nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well read, Jacob. The only other thing is the IR for Marshawn Lloyd, right? So he'd be given the designated to return, right? You only have 2 of those.
So that'd be Pup.
That's true. No. You only got 2 that you could designate to return, right, Emilio? That's what
you got to say that. Yeah, you got to say that before Cutdown. So, but he still would have to miss 4 games. I'm positive. I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah. So, do you think there's a chance he makes the 53 and they expect him back like week 2 or something? Is that what you're kind of
problem? That's like, are we going to use up another roster spot if we're already worried about keeping 3 and trying to figure it? I think you say, hey, Marshawn, we appreciate you. Let's get you over to like 110% ready to go back.
Yeah.
And, we'll put you on the designated return because you only get 2 of those. And then the rest of them are pups, didn't pass the physical beforehand.
Right. Think about the week 5 bye, right? So if he goes to 4-week IR, it's really 5 weeks. We get the bonus.
Very true. And here's the thing, though. I'm trying to think right offhand that obviously Christian Watson's going to start on IR, right? Designated return. So there's one spot, right? And then you've got if you do that with Marshawn Lloyd, your 2 spots are used up. Who else is hurt that you would want to use that for?
Colin Oliver,
exactly.
Right. Now, how's the pup work? See, I'm not real familiar with the difference between designating them a return and
pup. When I was reading it, pup was physically enabled to for players who failed to pass their physical before the end of training camp. They also require a 4-week absence. So it would have had to happen before, right?
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So I feel like because I think that John Williams would go on, season ending or whatever, and he would be okay. But I feel like Colin Oliver and Marshawn Lloyd are 2 IR designated to return candidates because Christian Watson was already on PUP and Travis Glover went on season ending IR, which is different.
Right.
It's a tough conversation to have, but like R.E. Iron Miner says, what are we thinking now after having, I would say, a rocky start to his career? He says is not sure Lloyd is worth it. Do you guys see enough potential with him that you think he is? I see Coach Len saying this, he is worth it. What do you guys think? It is a little tough.
If you're talking about what we've seen on tape, and I know it's very, very little tape, that dude looked explosive as hell. Yep. The problem is the injury bug going to continue to bite him? Nobody really knows, right?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
So that's what makes it that's what makes the whole conversation tough. Based off what we've seen, just in that one, I'm telling you, that wheel route, the catch, everything, like that was not normal. You don't see, and I love Emmanuel Wilson. You don't see Emmanuel Wilson making a play like that. You know what I mean? And that's not to say Emmanuel Wilson can't. The coaches haven't put Emmanuel Wilson in a spot where it's like, hey, run wild up the sideline on a wheel route, and we're going to hit you 40 yards down the field. That's kind of not his game. That's something that Marshawn Lloyd brings to the Packers that we haven't had since Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones was doing that type of stuff. So talent-wise, yes. If the question is health-wise, it's tough. Now, wasn't there somebody, Amelia, who am I thinking of, man? wasn't there a 3rd round pick that we cut tie? Amari Rogers, remember? So there's a little bit of precedent for, hey, just because you're a 3rd round pick, if it did, now his was more talent, lacking talent, it just didn't work out. It didn't materialize.
Yeah.
And so that's a great question, and I understand people that kind of differ on the opinion there for sure. But I think talent wise, we've seen enough with Marshawn Lloyd to go. Yeah, I wouldn't mind to hang on to him. That's just me.
Sure. Real quick, Ron Sandoval brings up. So one other guy we were thinking about, Sorrell. How is his injury progressing, and is he one of those guys that'd be like a 4 weeks and then he's back kind of thing?
We'll get into him a little bit deeper when we get on the defensive side of the ball. But personally, the vibe I got was Sorrell's going to be back before week 4.
Okay.
That's the vibe I get, and I hope I'm right there. But that's just kind of reading the tea leaves, of course. But sorry, Dennis Shook. I brought up Amari Rogers, and he just threw up everybody.
Put
now,
that
see,
name in my mouth right there.
don't hate on Amari Rogers. All right, let's come on now. That's Randall Cobb's godson. Let's be respectful in here, okay? So many people don't know the ties. Many people don't know the ties there, but so there was a quarterback by the name of T. Martin that won a national championship with the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Well, his pro career didn't materialize, so he goes back and he coaches at the college level. Well, guess what? He was the I want to say the receivers coach in Kentucky when Randall Cobb was the receiver there. So they got to be real close. And then lo and behold, when T. Martin, when his son was born, which was Amari Rogers, if I'm understanding correctly, he actually made Randall Cobb his godfather. So there was a lot of reports coming out that Aaron Rodgers didn't like Amari Rogers, and that's why they're trying to get rid of, and they didn't give him a true shot. That was the biggest crock of BS. Did he ride his case hard? Absolutely. But ironically, Aaron Rodgers is the godfather to Randall Cobb's kids, right? Yeah. Randall Cobb was a godfather to Amari Rogers. And to sit here and pretend like Aaron Rodgers didn't like Amari Rogers, they were all close.
Rodgers rode everybody's butt if they didn't shape, if they weren't doing the right thing. He wasn't afraid. He didn't care who you were. He'd dress you down in public.
Yeah, and as soon as he said immunized, all of a sudden not everybody, that portion was just like, oh my God, anything this guy does, we are going to blow it out of proportion. So anyway, moving along. Emilio, you got anything else on running backs? I kind of cut you off there.
No, that's it. No, we're good. Right.
Let's move along to snap the effing ball, right, Bates? Like he didn't, there was nobody safe. Nobody safe.
My favorite announcer of all time is when Tony, hey guys, maybe you should try and snap the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which we need that soundbite of Tony going, I don't know, Jim. Gotta get that one. There goes the voice. All right, wide receiver. Matt Schnaub's got us keeping 6. Matthew Golden, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, Savion Williams, and Malik Heath. Released McCole Hardman, Isaiah Nair, Julian Hicks, Cornelius Johnson, Kawan Baker, which Kawan Baker, Tim, he got cut today, right, to free up room for the new trade. So. Yeah, so he's already out. And Will Shepard, you ever heard of him, Tim? So Pup, they're saying Pup is Christian Watson. There's a good one right there, Emilio. So it sounds like Christian Watson will not tie up one of those 4 hours. Right. So he's going to be on Pup. That's great. That's great news. So
perfect.
Coming back week 6 against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Let's go, man.
You heard it from a fan right here.
You show everybody why we wasn't interested in going out and getting one of their bum wide receivers. Amen. I'm just kidding. They got good receivers, let's be honest. But I'd love to see him just go absolutely off and outperform. Who was the guy? T. Higgins, right? That everybody was wanting.
Oh, yeah.
So, would it be awesome if Christian Watson just went out there and broke off $150 and a couple tutters and we just absolutely shut down T. Higgins? That would be great.
I would love it.
Matt Schnaubin also said could keep a 7th for injury insurance. Heath chosen over Hardman for offensive skills despite Hardman's punt return role. Close calls due to injuries. Emilio, what do you think, man? I think we start with you this time, I believe.
I think that's a perfect setup right there. I feel bad for McCole, but Malik has done everything that we asked him. I was talking about that before in the pregame. I think like we were talking as if I can see, Malik Heath maybe running down there being a gunner. There he was, run down there. I mean, I think he made like 3 tackles and. Good catch, good hands, worked across the field, got open for Malik. I'm happy with that 6 right there. And yeah, Tim, I mean, Will was kind of putting a little show on there for you in the stadium. So that's a possibility too. But again, that's when we all have to cut down to what's going to happen when Christian comes. But right now for the 53, I'm perfectly fine with those 6.
I agree 100%. My only question would be how many receivers are we going to put on the practice squad? If it's a handful, 1 or 2, maybe. I hope one of them's Will Shepherd. Really do. One of them could be McCall Hardman for all we know. I don't know. But these 6, I agree 100%. I think Matt Schneidman's got it right. I don't think there's there's a little room for debate here, but you feel pretty good about these 6 right here for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Jacob.
Just real quick. Yeah. I mean, he has us releasing Isaiah Nair, Hicks, Cornelius Johnson. I mean, there was multiple times me and Tim looked at each other during the game. We're like, who was that? And it was Julian Hicks. Cornelius Johnson had a couple great grabs. I personally think that Isaiah Nair needs to be tried to be put on this practice squad. He looked so big out there. It just like he really does look the part. And I hope that, he gets a chance to, I don't know. I saw a chat question asking how many wide receivers do we try to slip on the practice squad, and is that like a necessary need that we like? The practice squad is there for reserve type stuff. Like, are we so stacked in the wide receiver room that we really don't have to worry about having too many backups, or is it one of those situations where you just have so much talent on that practice squad that you're okay keeping them, or you want to keep them?
I would think the question would be when Scoot comes back for PUP.
Yeah.
Who goes to the practice squad? Do you want to send Malik Heath to the practice squad? I mean, I don't. Savion Williams, do you want to send him there? I don't. Do you dress 7? Do you keep 7 on your active? So that's the real question. Like when you look at, what, if any, receivers are you going to put on the practice squad right now after your initial releases, right? Because we see that all the time. Oh, so-and-so's released, and then 45 minutes later, they're signed to your practice squad. So there's no tell.
Yeah. For me, it's real straightforward. I would send Malik Heath to the practice squad if I had to choose, but I can understand why we would want to try to keep all 7, because by that time, who knows? Maybe Malik Heath with Savion Williams. Is he going to be ready week 1? Do we know? You know what I mean?
That's my whole question too. And we know what we've seen from him. It hasn't been a whole hell of a lot this preseason,
right?
So maybe he draws first practice squad spot after Watson's back.
You could have the same conversation with Dontavion Wicks in the calf too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So you know what this kind of feels like, and maybe I'm off base here, but don't be surprised if the Packers sign somebody that gets cut, a wide receiver that gets cut. You know what I mean? And pop them on here and just go ahead and try to kick maybe Savion Williams or Dontavion Wicks to the 4-week hour. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting though, for sure. It's such an interesting wide receiver room because you see the talent, you see the upside, you see all the potential, but at the same time, you're looking up going, damn, they're still kind of unproven, Like pretty much everybody is unproven. Other than Jaden. To me, Jaden Reed is the most proven one. I know people seem to think Romeo Doubs is a better receiver than Jaden Reed. I'm too drunk to taste that chicken. I like Doubs, don't get me wrong. But what Jaden Reed's done, all he's done is led the team in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns the last 2 years, right? Amongst receivers. So I don't know what else he had.
We only saw half of them actually play this last week of the preseason. Yeah. I mean, you're missing half your wide receiver crew that you're carrying into the 53.
Yeah, great point. All right, let's move it along to offensive line, tight end. We can't skip over tight end, right? So we've got Matt Schneidman's got them keeping 3. Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, John Fitzpatrick. We kind of called this all preseason, man. Fitzpatrick just completely leapfrogs Ben Sims on the depth chart. So released Ben Sims, Messiah Swinson, Johnny Lumpkin. Notes Fitzpatrick surprises in camp, mirrors last year's 3 tight end initial roster. So Jacob, it looks like last year we broke camp with 3 tight ends. No surprise here. Do you think there's a chance Ben Sims gets picked up, or do you feel pretty confident that, hey, we'll just throw him on the practice squad and probably Messiah Swinson too? They really seem to like Messiah Swinson.
Yeah, I think there is maybe a 50-50 shot that somebody's seen enough tape on Ben Sims to give him a shot. I like his size, his RAS, the stuff I think he had some sort of diving catch that may have gotten called back, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the preseason there. But I think he's put a little too much on tape to not be picked up somewhere else. But that being said, as much as you guys know I love Ben Sims, I do think that Fitzpatrick just seems like he's just done a little more, and I think he might be a little younger. But it's tough. It's tough. We talked about the possibility of, are they trying to sneak just 2 on, and that kind of thing. But I just think that Fitz has kind of done enough to solidify himself as tight end 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ben Sims looked really good early in camp, and then kind of maybe plateaued, and then, or maybe not so much plateaued, but at the same time you had the ascension of John Fitzpatrick. So I think that's probably why we're looking at it the way we are. But I do think it's between if they're going to keep one on the practice squad, it's probably between Sims and Swinson for sure.
Really?
Messiah Swinson is kind of like I don't know, he's like one of those physical freak guys too. But he was kind of in the mix there when things were getting chippy at practice a couple of times. I don't want to use the term hothead, but we'll just say piss is hot with that one for sure, which of course you like in a tight end, right? But the question is, are they going to carry one over for the practice squad, or are we just going to keep 3?
Right. And since we're talking wide receiver here, or we're talking wide receiver just now, Artie Mirov tweeted out 7 minutes ago, the Chargers have released Brendan Rice, the son of Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. He obviously a receiver. So, just because of the name, you go, whoa, right? But obviously nowhere near Pops' talent, at least up to this
That's
point.
what I like about the NFL, right? Like the nepotism might get you so far. It might get you an extra look, might get you a chance. Scouts are going to come watch you. But at the end of the day, you're going to get treated like everyone else if you can't do it out there. Right?
That does kind of surprise me, though, because their wide receiver crew is kind of unpolished. You know what I mean? It's like Quentin Johnson, and then they've got the new guy that we liked so much, Tim. I can't remember what the heck his name is now, but that was kind of obviously we know the guy in Ladd McConkey, but that's interesting.
Yeah. If you guys would hit that like button for us, hit subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for making us a part of your evening here on the eve of the 53-man roster cut down. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here tonight. All right, moving on to offensive line. This is one of the big ones, right? This is one of those positions or position groups, I should say, that's really going to shape out how many you keep at each position. Matt Schneiden says 10. We're going to carry 10 on the initial 53. Okay, so he says Zach Tom, Elton Jenkins, Aaron Banks, Rasheed Walker, Sean Ryan, Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton, Jacob Monk, Donovan Jennings, Kadeem Telford. Now, I put an update in here. This was before we traded for Darian Kennard. Obviously, Darian Kennard, I think we traded him for a 2027 6th-round pick, I believe. So you can look at that and go, boy, that's 2 years down the road, and it's a late pick. You think about giving up a draft pick, you think, okay, we're not going to cut him. He's going to make the 53. I don't know, man. That's pretty far away. If you get the right look from maybe another offensive lineman that comes available, you probably, I think you could part ways and just kind of, all right, we're done with that pick. Oh, well, we lost it. But it does to me say that if you don't sign anyone else here, Tim, you're probably going to roll with Darian Kennard over one of these other guys here. So to me, the names that come to mind is Donovan Jennings and Kadeem Telford are the two that's probably on the chopping block there. How do you guys see that? What do you think would change if you did carry 10 like Matt Schneidman's talking about? Because he's talking about releasing Trey Hill, Tyler Cooper, J.J. Lippe, Lasita Smith, Brant Banks. On the pup will go John Williams. So there's another guy, like you were saying, Emilio. He won't top an IR spot, but he will be on pup. Continues the trend of double-digit offensive line. Depth uninspiring, but glimpses of potential in rookies, said Matt Schneidman. What do you think, Tim? Which one of those two, or maybe you would mention Jacob Monk in that category too? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think they're going to keep 9. So 10 to me is I'm kind of processing this here. I do agree with the sentiment that it would probably be Donovan Jennings and Kadeem Telford would be the question marks, I guess, so to speak. I would think with the trade for Kennard that they're planning on keeping him. I like Lasita Smith just because of the fact that he's got a little bit of experience as a center as well as a guard. He's kind of like your, just an interior O lineman. Gives us a little depth in the backup sense. But other than that, I think this is pretty accurate. My only question marks would be Jennings and Telford.
Got it. And we got a little bit of breaking news here. I want to give a shout out to Blake.
Hit that drop, Tim.
Browns are sending quarterback Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders, per Adam Schefter. So Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett continues to bounce around the league, and no, there was no crack involved to the best. I think we need to clarify there. So, all right, and wow, this was 25 minutes ago too. Former Jets star cornerback Darrelle Revis is calling for the NFLPA to step into the Micah Parsons situation, explaining there's a lack of respect from Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Quote, the bigger issue is respect. Jerry's actions show that owners have no problem taking advantage of players, essentially. So that was interesting that it just popped up on the timeline there as well. Go own a team is all I got to say, man. That always cracks me up when people are like, these owners, they don't
go balance a payroll. Balance a payroll one time with like 2 or 3 employees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See how that works. 2 or 3 employees making $80,000 a year. See if you can balance that. Then try and balance hundreds of millions. See how that works.
And there's people too that say like, well, the league wouldn't be anything without the players. I get that. I understand that. You do understand though, without the owners, there is no league. Like it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't forget us too. If we're not buying jerseys and tickets and $50 nacho plates at the stadium, I mean, there's no league either.
Yeah, and what does that have to do with the Packers' offensive line? Absolutely nothing. So anyway, Jacob, Emilio, what do y'all think about this offensive line? How do y'all see it? I don't care who goes first in there. I'm trying to keep it orderly, but obviously I keep losing my place. So
you got Jacob.
Well, I mean, like Drew D says, the Kennard trade is very interesting. To me, it is kind of head scratching just because it felt like we had, at least in my opinion, it felt like we had a really solid backup rotation to the point where we've got first rounders and second rounders that could be quote unquote sitting on the bench. So that one was a little, I'm not a GM like we just talked about. There are people that are in that position for a reason. And, I like our initial, I kind of agree with Tim. I think that we could get away with 9 and be good with that. And I do think that Donovan Jennings would probably be one guy that maybe has to get slipped on the practice squad. And I feel like he's had kind of a subpar camp at this point. But, like I said, I'm just a dude in the stands smiling at lady cops. What do you think, Emilio?
That was a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett, too. Speaking of lady cops, go ahead.
H.E. Solder nail on the head here. The Glover shoulder turned out to be a big deal.
Oh, come on, dude. That was so long ago. You had to highlight that.
I tried to tell everybody, but we wouldn't have had to. We probably wouldn't have had to spend that 6th round pick. If Glover was here, we wouldn't have spent that 6th round pick. But yeah, I'm with the I'm all on the 9 there, and it would be Jennings going to the practice squad for me.
How long were you sitting on that comment?
What's that?
How long were you sitting on that comment?
I scrolled back up to it. Don't worry, I wasn't going to lose it.
Yeah, I got to see the timestamp on this. It was 4 minutes ago.
It wasn't that long, but he was still. It was fresh.
It was 23 minutes or something.
It was ready. It was chambered for sure, Jacob. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because, we lose him to injury. You don't have, John Williams ready. You don't get to see what's going on there. But Kadeem Telford's their go-to. Kadeem also got the shot in the Eagles game as well. So you would think that they would kind of fall back on that, which kind of just leaves Jennings just on the way out is all.
You put that back up. This says Jacob bought Coldplay tickets the moment he met that cop. So we need to do another Photoshop, Tim. We need to get Jacob on that.
Upload that picture that
no, leave her alone.
We're not going to do that. We're going to do that. Now listen, there's legalities there, okay? But
don't worry, I got the picture.
She is a public servant, okay?
Did you show her this picture, Jacob? Did you say what you wear on the weekends or no?
I sealed the deal, man. I'm telling you, that's how she knew.
Was that her underwear on your head? That's what I need to know. Get the cop on the show, says Dennis Shook. I don't think we should do that because I'm pretty sure she's married, but that's a story for another day there, Jacob, right?
You're going to get your ass kicked in that.
You're going to get pistol whipped. That's what's going to happen. I've seen this play out before.
Some people pay more for that.
That's what I hear. Where were we, Tim? How do you let us get so...
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
We were at the fact that Glover would have made the 53.
Come on.
And
oh, boy, here we go.
The fact that we had to use a draft pick because my man got hurt, it's just tough to see.
I'll tell you this, man. I've got to agree with Emilio here.
No.
Glover makes this 53-man roster. If we add him to this list right here, he's on the 53. There's no 2 ways about it, Yeah. Jacob Monk's the interesting one for me, guys. Like, I don't know. I feel like he has played like crap. And I hate to bash the guy. I mean, he could do way better than me, obviously, but I don't know, man. That kind of feels like a big whiff, right? What was he, Tim? Was he a 5th-round pick? Am I thinking right, or was he a 4th? He was a 5th, right?
Thought he was 5th.
5th.
Yeah, I think he's a 5th-round pick. So it just, I would take the chance of putting him on the practice squad. So I'm kind of leaning toward what you said, Tim. If you're going to carry 9 as opposed to 10, like Matt Schneidman has them doing here, Jacob Monk, Donovan Jennings, Kadeem Telford to the practice squad, and you keep Darian Kennard, right? That's what it kind of feels like there. So we'll see though, man. It's going to be very, very interesting for sure. B Timmy 10 in here calling you out, Emilio. He said, Excelio, what happened against the Eagles last year?
Oh, that was no problem. You just threw him out there at a left guard spot that he hadn't played all season against Jalen Carter. That's fine. Yeah, all right. I'll take that lump. That's all right. We had a rough game.
It was like chum in the water, though, wasn't it, man? I don't care who you put out there, man.
But Kadeem Telford went in right after him, didn't do as hot either, and he's still on the team, making the roster, making the 53. So,
yeah. Once Elton and I mean, listen, Josh Myers played like Dookie. Don't get me wrong, but boy, once you got to see everybody else against that defensive front for the Eagles, it was like, holy cow, dude. Holy cow. So anything else on offense, guys, that y'all want to hit on before we move on to defense? Anything at all? Now's the time to speak before we move on.
Blake B, I'd take Glover over Jennings any day.
Well, we know
Emilio's running victory laps. Yeah, Emilio's going to need oxygen, dude. He's running so many victory laps here. The chat is totally on board with him.
We're just going to put this photo up for the rest of the show. We'll just leave that up. It's Emilio's prom photo right there.
Read this one, Emilio.
Man, yeah. Jalen Carter, Dennis Shook. Jalen Carter was drinking a working man Gatorade that day. That's very true. I mean, he just had a Camelback on the sideline full of that stuff.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2, where we're going to break down the defensive side of the 53-man roster projection. We'll see you over there. Appreciate you.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour 2. All right, a little 2 for 1 there. Got it.
All right. Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
I agree, Bob. I agree, Uke. Which, by the way, they said the Uke celebration went really, really well. In Milwaukee there. That's awesome to hear, man. And they kind of turned it into a celebration. I know it's sad losing such a great human being, ambassador for the Brewers, everything. I mean, anybody who's watched Major League, my God, man, he was such a part of my childhood, and I really didn't know much about him at the time. It was just this dude. Could you imagine the movie Major League without Bob Uecker? Like it's nowhere near the success.
Dude, real quick, if you guys ever want to laugh your butt off, listen to the Norm Macdonald interview about how he met Bob Uecker and just what he said. It is hilarious, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get
cool that the Brewers named the broadcast center after Bob Uecker. That's awesome.
And aren't they keeping an extra mic in the booth too? They're just keeping it open, like his mic is still staying in there and everything. I think that's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I heard something about that today. So. All right, let's move on to defensive tackle. Matt Schneidman says they're keeping 6. Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden, Warren Brinson, and Nazir Stackhouse. I have no problem with them keeping those 6. I kind of feel like there's a chance that either Kobe Wooden or Nazir Stackhouse would get cut and potentially try to move to the practice squad if of course you think you can get them over there. Now, if you think, hey, there's no chance both those guys are going to get picked up, I'm okay with them carrying 6. We'll start with you here, Emilio. What do you think, man? If your all-world offensive lineman Travis Glover had to go up and block these guys, right? Who would you want him to have to block against? Meaning, which one do you think is the weakest link out of this bunch here with 6? Not to be negative, but that's how you come up with, hey, here's the guy I would cut if we were to only carry 5.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Stackhouse. Starting with the fact that we ended up drafting Brinson, we brought in Stackhouse. He had a little bit of an up and down camp. Nothing wrong with that. He's got the size. Came from a big program. I just right now might not be working out, but being able to keep 6, I would be totally fine with keeping Stackhouse. I think that you just have a nice rotation there. I just can't believe. I mean, I was doing it myself, and I'm pretty sure we were talking about it. But Kobe wouldn't, potentially being on the bubble, not making the team. That was like a week ago, and at this point, I feel like there's no shot, in the world that he doesn't make it. And I just don't even realize how I was looking at it like that. But I'll take it. You know, we got past that, and Brinson and Stackhouse is where your toss up is. I would just kind of have to lean on Stackhouse right now if I had to get rid of one of them.
All right, go ahead, Tim. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a fair statement. We've got some time and effort and energy invested into Colby Wooden, and I think he's showed improvement in flashes over the last couple of years. So I think if it's between him and Stack, I think you put Stack on the practice squad. I mean, he's a UDFA. Could he get picked up? In theory, yes. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's there. But I feel good about this projections right here from Schneidman. I mean, Carl Brooks has had a great camp too.
Yep.
Another guy that's showed a lot of improvement. You really see Devontae Wyatt too, kind of stepping into his own, almost kind of assuming kind of another leadership role with that D-line group. So I feel good about that core with guys like, Wooden, Brinson, and Stack hopefully coming off the practice squad, behind them. But I do think there's a chance. Like I said, I've seen it with my own eyes up close. I mean, they see something in Nas Stackhouse with this defensive line group. So I do believe there is a chance that he does indeed make the 53.
Got it. We got some more breaking news here, Jacob, before we get your take on this defensive tackle spot. Tim, we got some breaking news. Tom Pelissero reports trade. The Vikings are sending defensive back Mekhi or Mackay, however you say. I think it's Mekhi Blackman to the Colts.
Who?
2026 sixth round.
I think it's Mackay Blackman.
Wasn't he the one that tore his ACL like first play of the season last year?
My knee.
Tim is so quick, man. I think he's got
dude, what is going on?
He's got AI or something connected to y'all's brain, dude. What's left of it anyway. But Jacob, did you mark a comment in there since we're talking defensive tackle that the Bucs released somebody earlier today? Is that right? Tampa Bay.
They did release the giant mammoth of
No
a man.
way.
That was
They
500 pounds.
Oh.
There we go. He was over there.
He was my bull.
Cheeseburger
Out of Florida, baby. Come on now.
Yeah.
Look at that guy right there, man. I don't know who his grandmama is, but I want to eat dinner at their house. You know what I'm saying? They know how to throw down. You talking about, could you imagine the cooking in that house?
Afam says sign his ASAP.
So anyway, I did see in the tweet earlier today too, Jacob, they said while he continues to work to get his weight down is what they said. So I don't see the problem, to be honest.
Desmond Watson. 254 on the board, baby.
Because if you ever want a guy to lose weight, you send him to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and say, here you go.
Could you imagine?
Cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
I'm telling you, Tim, how do you do it?
I don't know. He's amazing. Go ahead,
real
Jake.
quick. So, I agree kind of with everybody said. I think that as much as I wanted Nazir Stackhouse to just be that guy for his body type and just kind of the need that we had to have filled, I personally haven't seen enough in game situations, but Tim, he's seen him in practice, and I think that maybe he's seen more than I have that actually has a little bit more credit to that opinion. I will say too that I'm very excited about Carl Brooks, and I think Colby Wooden, like Amelia said, just has kind of turned it on after we kind of already wrote him off. And those are two dudes that are, is it both 3 years now with the team, so they could make a considerable jump like that. I mean, that really is kind of when people start finding their sweet spot. And I haven't seen a lot out of Brinson personally for me to get too excited about him. But I think we could maybe slip. What would you think if we tried to slip Brinson and Stackhouse on the practice squad and went just with like a 5? Or I mean, I know Tim, you love James Esther too, right?
At least one of those guys is going to get picked up.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah, I think so too. I was going to try to pull up Brinson. I know his PFF grades weren't great in the preseason, but I felt like Brinson showed more than Stackhouse in the
and if they were able to bring Stackhouse on and keep Brinson and Stackhouse together, it'd be the same thing like Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden. You bring in two dudes at the same time, let them grow together, give them a couple of years together, and roll on. And then you decide at the end of year 4 who's going to stay, who's going to go. So I'm not mad at that same sort of technique.
I also like the notes, though, noted here from Schneidman's predictions here, Georgia connections, Brinson's your pass rusher, Stack is your run stuffer. And they're both developmental players as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, I think maybe Brinson might be a little bit more, game ready right now, I guess would be the term, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with what Tony's saying here. I think that Brinson has shown enough in the pass rush that he would not make it to a practice squad. I feel like there's a decent shot, however, that Nazir Stackhouse would make it back to the practice squad. Could be wrong there. Both of them, according to PFF, played like cheeks in the preseason game. So, for what it's worth. Anything else on defensive tackle before we move on, fellas? Good.
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to defensive end. Matt Schneidman said they're going to keep 5. Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, Brenton Cox Jr., and Aaron Mosby. Wow, that's a surprise there, right? Release Deslin Alexander. Colin Oliver goes on the PUP. IR designated return will be Barron Sorrell. Sprained MCL expected out in a few weeks. Stash on the IR to preserve a roster spot. Notes Sorrell less likely for early snaps than other injured players. So he sees it much more serious than I did, obviously. I kind of felt like there's a chance he could be back in a couple of weeks. And I want to say this. Jacob Morley tweeted out earlier today, Barron Sorrell led all rookie edge rushers. I repeat, Barron Sorrell led all rookie edge rushers in quarterback hits this preseason. He only played in 1 game. So I'm telling you, we got something there as long as that knee heals up just fine. And Emilio, correct me if I'm wrong, man. You've tore an ACL.
Yep.
Spraining an MCL, that makes me more nervous than a full tear on an ACL, because with a tear on an ACL, you're going to repair that thing. You're going to miss a season, but you're going to come back stronger than ever. Am I wrong thinking that when you kind of sprain one and you're a defensive, either a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, you're in the trenches? Feels like I'm a little more nervous about that. I know that was basically what Jordan Love had last year, right? The injury.
Yes, right.
So,
right.
But he's
that was what Kingsley Enagbare had the year before too. Correct?
Was it really?
Freaked out and thought it was bad, and then it turned out to be a sprain, and he came back pretty quick and strong.
With no surgery too, Tim.
No
right?
surgery, exactly.
And if it were me, Barron Sorrell, probably obviously you're doing all the rehab you can the next 2-3 weeks, whatever. But you're throwing a brace on it. You're trying not to get rolled up on. You're trying to stay, engaged using all the muscles, getting full extension, all of that. But if you can avoid surgery, ideally, let the body heal itself and keep going. Mm-hmm. But knees can get kind of funny. As long as everything's still connected in there, I would say he's in good shape. Let's just heal it up, strengthen it back up, and keep moving. Mm-hmm. But looking at it, I see they flipped it. We had Colin Oliver on IR, and Barron Sorrell was going to sneak through on the squad, but keeping Colin Oliver at PUP actually helps us out, still leaving us with that other IR spot so I guess it would be Marshawn Lloyd and then Barron Sorrell.
Gotcha. MD1, I know you're in here tonight, man. Here we go. Yeah, I've sprained. Let's see what he has to say here. Let's get a real doctor's opinion.
Please.
I've sprained my MCL. It's very painful and takes 4 to 6 weeks to feel decent. So there you go. That's right on par with what Matt Schneidman said. So good deal, man. Appreciate that information. What is this? Eric Sutherland says Emilio tore his ACL at Chuck E. Cheese.
It depends. I mean, was I in the ball pit or going down the slide? I mean, what do you got, Eric?
You're running away from it.
You think God never farted?
Unbelievable. Eric got the comment of the night, though, no doubt about it. So, all right. I don't even know who's up. Let's keep talking about defensive end here. What else we got?
Let me take over the conversation here real quick. Let's talk about Cox. All right. He's going to be, I believe, one of the best, probably third row.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Come on, man.
What are you talking about? That's my job.
I sincerely, I'm not even joking. I really do think that he is going to open a lot of people's eyes this year, and it's going to be a name that's in a lot of announcers' mouths. And
thick. That's terrible.
It's
okay. What is happening?
I really do think he's going to be good, and if I had to make a disagreement with this list, I think that over Mosby, I would take Deslin Alexander. Me and Tim got to see him pretty close up and personal, and I really agree. I really think that he has kind of shown a lot. And when Matt LaFleur was asked about him and the post-game conference, he said that he is just a guy that's always going 110%, and that he doesn't ever have to tell him to get the piss hot kind of thing. So to me, I really do like Mosby, though. I really do. It's just something about Desmond Alexander just kind of flashed for me.
I agree.
Tim,
I think
Mosby,
this
Mosby
list
surprises me, Tim. Does it surprise you here, man, or no?
a little bit, just because I feel like to Jacob's point that Desmond Alexander really did flash like super hardcore towards the end of this camp in these last couple preseason games, especially. But I do think that there's something there with Aaron Mosby, and that would justify, a release of Desmond Alexander and then probably an immediate sign to the practice squad for him, I would think. And I would think he'd be relatively safe. Because Mosby looked good for us last year at times too. We were worried about him playing a little more under control, and I think we've seen that this year compared to last year. So I think that's probably why Schneidman's got him here on the list here as his 5th. And I would reluctantly agree with that. I think, there's an argument to keep Desmond Alexander on the team, but there's also an argument that Mosby deserves that last spot if in fact they do keep 5.
Yeah,
this Chet
is foul. Just saying, real quick.
How about the popcorn to get him?
Well, I mean,
you. All right. Anything else on defensive end? Are we good? Did you get all that out of your system, Jacob? Did you?
I didn't do anything.
All right, we're moving on. Unbelievable. All right, linebacker 5, Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, and Christian Welch. Let's go, Tim.
Hey.
Yeah.
Released
Iola, Christian Welch, Iola. Let's go.
Isaiah Simmons, Jamin Johnson, Jared Bartlett. Release notes: Simmons athletic but underwhelming. I agree with that. Welch makes plays on defense/special teams, close calls. So, yeah, I love the fact that Christian Welch makes this roster. Emilio, I think you're up first this time, I believe. I could be wrong, but what do you think about these 5 right here, sir? Do you like it? Do you think Isaiah Simmons should be released and try to get him on the practice squad?
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that it's somebody in Christian Welch that you've seen for multiple years now that you know what you're going to get from him. So I'm totally fine with that. You got Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah, he's been here for us. He's solid. He knows what to do. He knows where to be. I think he's kind of taken a little bit of a step in the offseason. And then we've all seen what Tyron Hopper's done this preseason. I'm extremely excited to see him out there, hopefully in the 4-3, getting reps. I mean, just in rotation. Backers get hurt. I'm almost certain Tyron might start a game for us this year. So let's keep our eyes to that. But, yeah, Isaiah Simmons, nothing against you, man. It just didn't work out for us. I'm glad we gave it a shot. If we can get you on the practice squad, let's do it. But if not, maybe he gets picked up. But right now, everyone's trading for first look at free agents, right? You're trying to get priority free agents right now. That's why they're tossing around 6 and 7s. So, I mean, if somebody really wants him, they'd be reaching out.
Yeah, and Simmons is our best gunner, like what Coach Lynn said. They from what I understand, Bo Melton and Simmons, #1 gunners, right? So, Tim, that's something that comes into play, right? I mean, you got to take that in consideration. But boy, oh boy, did Simmons look like cheeks playing stack back. It just didn't. Yeah,
I agree, and that's why I flipped those 2 around, because Christian Welch is no joke on special teams either. Now, I don't know about it, being your gunner, but he contributes on special teams, and then he has the edge as a linebacker, I think, over Simmons, and I think that's an astute observation here. Simmons is athletic but underwhelming. That's the best way to kind of sum it up. He's probably one of the best athletes out there on the field, but when it comes to executing, albeit he's a pretty damn good tackler when he wants to be, but being in the right place, the right time, understanding what's going on in that system seems to be a bit of a struggle. So I agree with the Christian Welch having the slight edge over Simmons, although we could all be wrong and both of them are released, and maybe both of them are signed to the practice squad. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Stackbacker, fellas?
Just real quick on the Simmons thing. Do you think that it was I don't want to say a misjustice or whatever, but where Hafley was like, all right, we got to put him at a certain position. Do you think they picked the wrong position? Because I know when me and Tim saw him live, I was like, man, he just doesn't look like a linebacker. He just doesn't. He looked more like kind of a strong or a big safety. Do you think
I feel like the whole league's been having this conversation for the last 3 or 4 seasons with him, really?
Right.
I mean, regardless of what team he's been on, right?
But obviously, we don't need that kind of help on the safety group. So it's like, is he just another situation of just wrong place, wrong time, in another team? Could he be more successful in maybe of a hybrid role or a safety role?
I think anywhere he ends up, he's a special team attribute and then a 4th or 5th string linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that's the thing. Like, and listen, there's been really, really successful teams, successful organizations that will designate specific special teams players. Like, if you go and look at what New England did, one of their captains, Matthew Slater, that dude, he was. I mean, he got special teams player of the year like multiple years, if I remember correctly.
Is that the dude that was blocking extra points and field goals like a madman? Is that who I'm thinking of?
I know he was their gunner, Tim. And
okay.
boy, oh boy, was he. I mean, he was just and a team leader and all that. And I'm not saying Simmons is that. I'm just like that's one example that we have. Like, that franchise had a lot of success. And that dude, he was a wide receiver. And I never remembered him taking one snap at wide receiver because he was just always that gunner type player. So it is important. So Dennis Shook said, can't you just blitz Simmons whenever he's out there? I mean, yeah, you could, right? But I think teams are going to see that coming. They're going to go, all right, yeah. What's his number? 28? 28's on the field.
Yeah.
All right, he's just going to blitz, guys. Slide of protection. That's all we got to do.
You mean like the same thing if we traded for Micah Parsons? Put him on the field?
Yeah. Hey.
Tim is not going to let it go. All right, let's go to the chat here real quick. Solder says, so is McDuffie or Hopper number 3? I think McDuffie's number 3 right now, Solder, but I hope Hopper is. To me, Hopper is the better. I mean, like, I say the better. He has shown in this preseason, in my opinion, that he can be a better number 3 than McDuffie. Now, we might get to week 1 and he take a step back and we go right back to McDuffie type thing, right? What I hope doesn't happen, though, Solder, is that we look up 5-6 weeks into the season and he hasn't even gotten a shot. They're going to continue to roll McDuffie out there. How do you guys feel about that? Let's go around the horn there. Am I being too critical of McDuffie? Because I'm not like saying McDuffie's a bad football player, right? I love the signing. They got him on the cheap, that little 2-year extension. I think you build the floor a little bit. You know, you got kind of a high floor there. But, man, Hopper, what he did in the preseason, I just don't think we can afford to keep him off the field. As Drew D says here, man, Hopper may be the most improved player. That's exactly what Matt LaFleur said.
I was just going to say, yeah.
You want to play the hot hand, right? You don't want to keep holding him back. If he's making those strides, I would agree. And I think that's where you're coming from with this. It's not a knock on Zay McDuffie. It's just the fact of the matter is, Tyron Hopper doesn't have a ceiling, apparently. And we kind of know what we get with Zay McDuffie, which is a solid football player. But we could have a potential monster on our hands with Tyron Hopper. And if you look at Coop and Quay and Tyron Hopper, that could be that trifecta we're looking for there in the middle.
Right. Now we know why we moved on from Eric Wilson.
Yep.
They were ready. They got a couple looks at Hopper. They knew what they had. They said, all right, if this kid makes a jump, we are golden. And then, all right, we'll bring in Isaiah Simmons as a backup plan. Don't need to. We're good to go.
Yeah, Donovan Schilling says maybe our Quay replacement ? I think it could be Schilling, Donovan. I think that's the plan. Is like, hey, if for some reason we can't work this contract out with Quay and get him for what we think he's worth, as opposed to what the market probably would be for Quay, because I think people will really pay top dollar for Quay Walker. He's just a physical freak. So that might be kind of the plan, is Hopper to step into that nickel 4-2-5, which we're in 75% of the defensive snaps, and he'll be the stack backer of the future alongside Edger and Cooper. It makes sense financially. It makes sense upside-wise. However, if Quay continues to improve like we seen a little bit last year before he hurt the ankle, and then obviously we seen him, 5 snaps the other day, and boy, he looked comfortable. So the ankle looks healthy. We can check that box now. We may look up in week 3 or 4 and go, holy cow, Quay Walker, get him a contract right now before the price goes on up. That could happen. I'm just not going to sit here and pretend like I've watched him play and been like, I would pay him top stack backer money. I can't get to that point,
I think about Eric Stokes, right? Not taking the option on him, and then he kind of had to prove it year. And I don't think anyone really thought that was going to happen, and it didn't. And he's a Raider now. So I believe he's a Raider, right? Did Stokes go to the Raiders?
Yep. Yeah.
So when I look at Quay, I think he may have a better chance to go out there and prove it this year. And then to your point, Clay, you're right. Maybe maybe the Packers are willing to come up a little bit to keep him around, and they can work out something kind of in the middle, maybe a little below market value, maybe semi-team friendly. Maybe Quay wants to stay, and it makes sense, and they can get a deal done with him.
Yeah. But I think too that we have to remember that, like Emilio always brings up, Quay and Edge played together. Was it one game, Emilio?
They started one game together. So they had snaps together definitely throughout the season, but never a full game, and they only started one, which was the playoff game against the Eagles.
Right. And like we talked about, I think it was yesterday, whatever, like, yeah, if we're in that 4-3 base, like that's maybe 50% of the time. But if we do have a solid third, guy in that rotation, it's going to make a big difference. And like Quay Walker he's a physical freak. He really is. So like Clayton said, I believe that there are teams that are willing to pay top dollar for the guy. So if that's the fact, if that's the case, then all right, cool. I really love the fact that we have Hopper in the hopper. And it makes me more comfortable now. Like every single year, we always get humbled. We're like, why did we? I remember when we drafted him, was like, why? What are we doing? And then all of a sudden, 1-2 years down the road, you're like, okay, I understand. I'm an idiot. I literally am watching football on TV. These guys are there doing the draft. There's a reason for that.
We all fall into that category for sure, man. We're all guilty of that. Cornerbacks. Matt Schneidman's got them keeping 5. Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, Bo Melton, and Kalen King completely agree with this list. Release Kamal Hadden, Corey Ballantyne, Micah Robinson, Tyron Herring. Notes Melton adapts well from wide receiver. King stands out in camp with splash plays. Close calls among depth options. I completely agree with these 5 here. What do you guys think about those 5 right there?
Yes. Yep. Sign me up. Yes, please. I'll take that.
If they keep 6, Kamal Hadden's on the team.
You think so?
Yeah, if they keep 6, he's your 6th, I think.
He played good against Seattle. Am I thinking right, Tim?
He did.
Sure did. Yeah. Made a real strong case for himself in that last preseason game. But I think Schneidman's right. I think they might go with 5. But if they do go with 6, I think Kamal Hadden over Corey Ballantyne is probably your 6th. But I'm with you guys. I like this lineup here. I feel really good, especially considering the way Kalen King has played throughout camp and closed out the preseason too. So you feel good about this lineup.
Yeah,
right.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Bo Melton is a freaking cornerback. I remember when we were all told that this was a joke. He's not going to make this team as a corner. He's not going to be able to be a corner. Bo Melton's a cornerback. I love it.
I'm guilty of that. That was me. I was the one going, boys, this feels like he got one foot out the door. They're just trying to find a way to keep him on the roster. He shut me the hell up. He shut me up quick. And listen, I don't think he's going to be an all-pro. Maybe someday, right? But boy, oh boy. I remember that first practice. I made that comment, and like 2 or 3 practices later, we showed the footwork, and I was like, he's got the best feet of every cornerback in this drill. What in the world? So just like his brother, I guess, right?
Yep.
So, and I will say this about Kamal Hadden. Amelia, I know you were about to say something. Seattle, the Seattle game, Kamal Hadden, 85.8 PFF grade with an 88.4 coverage grade.
No, yeah, Tim's spot on there. If we're keeping anybody else, it's got to be Kamal. Nothing against, Valentine or anything. We've had him on here. I think we can go back out there and get him later on in the year if we need to, if another team doesn't pick him up. And then, Micah Robinson, we spent a 7th round on him, but it just didn't work out, right? Not enough space, not enough guys. We'll go ahead and slide you to the practice squad, work on you a little bit, see what we can get. But yeah, where our cornerbacks were at the beginning of the offseason before a pre-draft and everything to where we are now, I'm pretty happy with where it all ended up.
I think that's a great segue there to what JJ McQuaid says. He goes, how confident are we with this quarterback depth? Like you just said, Emilio, at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the offseason, if you would have asked me about that, I would have said that either that or the linebacker room was our worst kind of depth, ranking that we had with a bunch of these players. But all of a sudden now, both of those positional groups, I'm just like, okay, we got some dogs in there and guys that have actually shown themselves that they can, the moment's not too big for them. Like Clayton said, I mean, I don't remember if I was honestly, I think I was kind of on the train as Ryan and Clayton was, where it's like, when you switch a guy's position, it just usually means, hey man, we're just trying to do something to keep you on the team to justify not letting you go. I think he's shown obviously that he deserves to be an NFL cornerback, which is kind of crazy to say. I would try to get Micah Robinson on the practice squad. I would hope that would happen because I think I saw some flashes of him. But like I know me and Tim both watched Kamal Haddon this last week, and he was running around, man. He was throwing his shoulder down there. He was absolutely willing to throw his body around and be kind of violent, which that's what I love about cornerbacks if they're willing to do that kind of stuff. And it's tough to see like guys like Corey Ballantyne just kind of be brought back in and let go right away, but that's what the NFL is. It's not for long, right?
Absolutely. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody watching. We got 523 people watching live. Thank you all so much for making us a part of your evening. If you would hit that like button. Also, if you're watching on X, do us a favor, click on my profile. You'll see the YouTube link there. Hop over to YouTube, sub to the channel. And if you want to be involved in the conversation, that's where all these comments are. You can comment on X, but you can't see everybody else's comments. So if you just want to crack open a cold one, hop in here with us on the live stream and comment on these knuckleheads in the chat, which viewer discretion is advised. Okay, we will say that. But just hop over to YouTube and make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon. So anything else on corner, boys? Anything at all? I know we had a couple of things marked here. Ron Sample says, is King better in coverage in the slot than Bullard? Yes.
Yes, he is. But Bullard's better against the run.
Right. And that's what it comes down to is like, well, here's the thing too, though, Tim. I felt like King
looks better against the run.
He played physical, right? Like I didn't expect him to look that physical, but I'm still going with the upside of Bullard in the slot. But I feel pretty darn good that you might not have to kick Nate Hobbs to the slot if Bullard gets a little banged up. You know what I mean? Or if a safety gets banged up and you got to throw Bullard back at safety, throw Kalen King in there, throw him to the fire. Let's see what he can do, man. Because his coverage, he's improved a lot. And listen, we shouldn't be surprised about this, right, Emilio? Like this is Jeff Hafley's specialty, right? Is DBs. And then do you put that with Derek Ansley out there as well with the DB room? My God, man.
Yeah. Coming from a previous, first round thought of a player, it's not like that talent completely left him. He just didn't have a good season that next year. Didn't get too good of a shot. We picked him up, gave him a chance. He's worked on it, right? Nothing happened last year, and he's playing like his life depends on it, like his job, his contract, all that. I mean, if you want to get out there and play football, you got to show up in the preseason. I think he's done that. And like you were saying, he's coming downhill. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. Made a couple of tackles, breaking on the ball carrier. It's an improvement that I didn't see when we were worried about taking a corner in the draft. So I'm glad that he stepped up and really has shown out for the defense there.
I completely agree. Ron Sample says King played the run like a madman last week. He really did, man. Looked very aggressive. Let's move on to safety. Schneidman has them keeping 5. Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, Javon Bullard, Zane Anderson, and Cutdown Oladapo. I think that's spot on. The Zane Anderson one kind of catches me off guard a little bit. We haven't seen him at all, right? Like I almost kind of
expected he got hurt.
Right. I was almost
he doesn't exist also. So
almost expected him to not make, not be healthy for week 1, but it sounds like Schneidman's got him on the 53. So maybe he's good to go. Tim, you've been down there in and around camp. Do you remember seeing Zane Anderson while you were at camp practice at all, man?
Not since the concussion or the knee injury. He had a knee injury or something in that first preseason game. I haven't seen much of him, no. But there's a great point, Coach Len. Is he an IR designation? And KT Oladapo is there to fill in the gaps until he's back.
Yeah, according to Schneidman, I mean, he doesn't mention he would go on AR. He's got him like this dude's going to be ready to roll, And again, maybe that changes.
If that's true, then this is great, right? This is our safety room, right? I don't think there's much of a debate. I mean, keep your prayers up for Omar Brown dealing with what he's dealing with. Jonathan Baldwin, Jalen Simpson. I don't think either of them, surprised anyone this year. So, I think those are your 5 for sure.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Anybody else on safety? Anything at all?
You know what it's got to be. So, come on now. I'm glad he's back.
Get it done.
Easy shooter. Don't get us.
He was the best guy around.
I love how Jacob's the one saying, "Be careful, don't get us in trouble."
Yeah, you guys know I'm the professional here, right? Everybody. I like what you said there, Clayton. I think that this has got to be the top 5. I was honestly really impressed with what I've seen from Cutdown Oladapo. Had high praise for him coming out. Was so excited about that draft that we had when we picked my guy Bullard and Evan Williams and Gaetan Oladapo, and I feel like a lot of those, all three of those guys are going to take a big step and help this defense. We know what we have in McKinney. I think we know what we have in Evan Williams, at least with his young talent. I want to see Zane Anderson come back and show us something. And my heart breaks for Omar Brown, because I think that he was having himself a type of situation where it may have been like him or Zane. You know what I mean? They probably were fighting for that last position, but honestly, we've talked about it many times on this podcast. Hats off to Goody for transforming what was an absolute crap fest in the safety room from one year to the next. Just, yeah, gangster Goody, man.
There you go. Grable 424 in the chat says, I'm wondering if Zane Anderson starts on IR. That injury sounded not great. I completely agree with you, Grable, until I seen this projection for Matt Schneidman. And maybe he overlooked it, right? Maybe he, oh yeah, that's right, Zane probably will go on IR, and he just didn't put it in the information. But to me, this says a lot. Like, I feel like if it didn't slip through Matt Schneidman's mind, then he's probably got enough information to go, hey, this dude's going to be ready to go. He's going to be healthy for week one. So, and like Tim said, that's great news. I don't want this to come across the wrong way. Zane Anderson played great last year in the limited time he played. He's also a good special teamer, if you guys remember. So,
and not even week one, could be week two. As long as he's not out for the 4 weeks, you would still want him to be on that 53.
Yes, great point. I just pulled up. Paul Brettel had a write up too. And he was talking about Zane Anderson working through the knee injury. Depending on the timeline, he could be an IR designated return candidate. Okay. So at this point, who knows?
Got it. Biz 1987 said, you guys seem to have called most of the spots. Great job breaking everything down. Appreciate it, Biz. Now, we'll see if this is true tomorrow, right? As at 3 p.m. Central, the 53-man roster will be released. And here's the other thing, too, Biz. Keep in mind that initial 53 – usually within 24 hours, it gets shook up too, right? Like there's usually a cut or two. You pick someone else up. I remember when Micah Abernathy made the roster, and I was so excited. I was like, he freaking made it. Let's go. 6 hours later, he was cut, and they didn't even put him on a practice squad. I'm like, what happened? What's going on here? So, yeah, but appreciate the kind words there, Biz. Thank you so much, buddy. Ron Sample.
Sorry.
Ron Sample says Spoon didn't think Zane would be on the 53 due to injury. So there's 2 against 1 so far, right? So maybe we did originally have it right. Go ahead, Emilio. Sorry.
No, I was just pulling up this one. Farva over here said they get 2 preseason IRs to return. I knew Jacob would laugh at that.
You got a liter of cola over there? You got a liter of cola?
I'm thinking Lloyd and Sorrell is where I was leaning. Do you have it? Does anybody else have it as Lloyd and Anderson, or is it?
I'd go Sorrell for sure.
Coming in, I thought Sorrell would be ready before week 4, but after hearing everybody chatting in here, like I said, MD1 talking about, it being 4 to 6 weeks, I think it's probably right. It probably will end up being Sorrell on the IR. Okay. So, I mean, like I said, we'll find out tomorrow, right? That's when we'll know. That's another answer we'll get tomorrow, Tim, is obviously if Sorrell doesn't go on IR tomorrow, then we know, all right, going to have him back sooner rather than later.
Exactly. That'll be a really good indicator, I think. And obviously, with Watson being, on PUP, not counting against this is a good scenario for us for those 2 spots. So we'll see what happens.
Let's give the people what they want, some free kicker talk here. You ready? Surprise, surprise. Matt Schneidman has Brandon McManus making the 53-man roster as your kicker. All right. I'm going to release Mark McNamee. However, McNamee likely back in the international player pathway slot. It's an extra practice squad spot there, obviously. So nothing really much to talk about there other than can we all just give Goody a big round of applause for signing Brandon McManus when he did. As soon as the allegations were cleared, let's go get this dude. And I'm telling you, man, could you imagine if we had a young, unproven kicker right now?
We don't have to imagine.
Got that.
We can just think back to last year, right?
Yeah, definitely. J. Cole says McManus is a no-brainer. We would agree. All right, moving along. Daniel Whelan, obviously going to be your punter, long snapper Matt Orzik. Heard some people bashing Matt Orzik the other day. Tim, did you see something in camp to go, he's not a good snapper? I just haven't.
Long snapper snaps the ball 3 inches to the left or right, and everybody freaks out. So I don't know. I've never seen, Danny Whelan have any trouble handling, a snap and hold or a snap for a punt from him. Even a couple that were high. We remember last year he went up and grabbed one. Guys make mistakes. I do think that it wouldn't be crazy to think that there might be some competition in the near future at that position, but I think we're all right with Matt Orzic right now.
Yeah, 2-0 for this says I bash Matt Orzic. Daniel Whelan has saved his job. Listen, that's a fair point. How many times have we see 6'5" Daniel Whelan go up and grab that ball?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That
so maybe
wingspan
he's right. It's basically on Whelan.
Yeah, right. It's a good point. So, another guy that's just an unsung hero on this team, man. Whelan has been so damn good. What did you think? Did you get to see him punt in person, right? Jacob, down there at the preseason game, Daniel Whelan?
I honestly was very impressed. Like you talk about how the impact sound it makes when an NFL punter, and especially him, it was kind of shocking. And like I talked about last night, the wind really whips around in Lambeau more than I thought it did, just from watching it on TV. And he seemed to not only just have kind of no fear, like nothing's too big for him. He just kind of, everything is even keel, never gets nervous. But Matt LaFleur was talking about how he just he's one of those guys that like he was so good originally, and now he's kind of honing his game, and now he's working on that directional punting. Like he always had that crazy big leg, right? But now it's like he can put it on a freaking dime. Like if they were to have like I'd love to see if I could make a suggestion for like the Packers family night type thing, do a punter net. You know what I mean? Like they do the net for the quarterbacks, do that with the punters too. I bet you that we'd have some fun watching him kick into a very limited area, because it just seems like that he's getting more and more honed in.
Yeah, they used to have the coffin corner drills, right,
Yeah.
Jacob?
Right.
Madden 05 or 28.
Oh, yeah.
That soundtrack slapping, dude.
Oh, man. Just drop it. And Packers actually put up a 3-minute video of Whelan. I think he was mic'd up for the game. So I have to check that out after we get off.
Don't quote me exactly, but I believe Danny Whelan averaged nearly 60 yards a punt. It was well over 50 yards a punt, I think.
Yeah, it was 6 of them for like 345 yards, with the longest of 67.
Yep.
And we basically had 10 extra punt yards than their punter for each one of his punts. So I mean, we're cruising.
Love it.
So Matt Schneibin's practice squad predictions as we wrap up. He said Elgersma, Clifford. So he's saying they're going to keep both quarterbacks. Abanaconda and Amar Johnson. I like keeping both those guys. Hardman, Nair, Hicks, Sims, Smith, Trey Hill, Esther, Simmons, Haddon, Robinson, Ballantyne, Baldwin, and McNamee. Don't really have any arguments there.
I do.
What you got?
I do. Swap Nair or Hardman for my boy Will Shepherd.
Tim has fallen in love with Will Shepherd like I did Rudy Ford that year. I love it, man. Absolutely love it.
Put your foot down. You might as well make the case right now, Tim. We only got 12 hours till they decide.
Put it on the damn ticker right now. Rookie of the year, Will Shepherd.
I'd have to say I don't think Nicole Hardman makes a practice squad with how many teams are wide receiver needy right now. Okay. There's a few different ones that could use a third and a fourth and a fifth. I don't feel like he's going to make it.
Go ahead, Tim. What you going to say, Bob?
Oh no, you mean you'll make it, but he'll get picked up, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
He wouldn't last long on our practice squad. I think there's some truth to that. But yes,
like Jay Cole's talking about, dude, the Vikings are reaching out to see if they can get freaking Adam Thielen back, 35-year-old Adam Thielen. Like, why would you not try to take a shot at a guy like McCole, isn't he still like 27 or 28 or something like that?
I think McCole turns 28 this year.
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, Will Shepherd for the practice squad. You heard it from a fan. Let's go.
Heard it from a fan right here.
All right. That's it, guys. I think we're done. If there's anything else y'all want to hit on, listen, if you're watching this later, let us know what you think about the 53 before it drops. Hit us in the comments. Let us know who you think will make it, maybe one or two that we got wrong here. What did you disagree with Matt Schneibin on his projections? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you want to support what we do here at PTA, the best way to do so is join our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. $3 get you access to everything on the site. We also do random giveaways just to give back to those who are supporting the channel. We'll have another autograph Lucas Van Ness rookie card coming up here real soon for a giveaway. Also looking for Travis Stace. You won the autograph Lucas Van Ness rookie card here from the giveaway last week. So appreciate everybody supporting us over there on Patreon. If you're not familiar with Patreon, hey, I don't want to sign up for something. You're being a boomer like me. I don't need another website. All right. You can also support us right here on YouTube. Just hit that join tab right below this video, and that'll get you entered into giveaways as well. So,
why?
You know why, Jacob? I'm just going to say this, Jacob. That ball cap you got on is sweet. It looks way better than the do-rag.
I'm going to bring the do-rag back. I'm going to Jake Kummerow it all season. It's going to be awesome. Real quick, too, Biz1987 says, you guys doing a community pick'em or a fantasy league this year? He says, I've been out of the loop for a while. Yes, sir, we are actually through the Patreon group like Clayton just mentioned, which is perfect. www.patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. The initial fantasy group is already filled, but I believe there was an overflow. And if there's still room, you should go there and check it out, and we'll get you in there.
When is the draft, Jacob? When is your draft?
Our draft is going to be August 30th, this upcoming Saturday, which happens to be my birthday, so it's going to be great.
How old are you? 53? 50?
Hey. I'm going to be 38.
Oh, man. Getting old. That back starting to hurt yet?
It's been hurting.
There you go. That's what happens when you're at the office. So what we may do Saturday then, since we don't have a whole lot going on, right? Maybe we can do – what time is the draft, Jacob?
7 p.m. God's time.
7 p.m. God's. So about the time that we go live. I wonder if we could just do live look-ins on the draft, how it's going. Do you think we could pull that off? Because you probably won't be on the show while you're doing a live draft, right?
I mean, I could draft with my eyes closed, but you know.
Where did you finish last year in your fantasy league?
I won last year, actually. Well, one of three. So
playoffs.
There was only three owners. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, we're gonna give him some.
Yeah. So that would be cool if we could just get some live, maybe a live look in on the draft there, because I do like the draft aspect of fantasy leagues. So, all right, Emilio, anything else? You got the floor, sir. You said you wanted to promote something that was near and dear to your heart. What was that?
Yeah, no, I just Travis would have made the 53. That's all I'm standing on.
That quick, man. That's awesome. All right, that's it, guys. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. Hit that like button on the way out, and yeah, we can have a birthday right here in the chat. Right there, you go.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday, Donovan.
Happy birthday, Donovan. Sorry your party sucked.
All right, everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. We'll have the initial 53-man roster. Jacob, this is your fault. Comments like this is your fault. I'm not even going to do the normal. No, don't say a word. We're out.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.